Hey guys, we just want to talk to you a little bit about the up and coming Giving Day, which was supposed to be on Sunday, the 30th of August. And unfortunately, due to a whole bunch of government regulations, we are unable to have our Giving Day, and we were going to have a big kind of a barbecue as well. And it was going to be just an amazing day, family day in church. So we have bumped it forward to when those regulations end, and that's going to be Sunday, the 20th of September. So obviously, as we were expecting it to be on the 30th of August, myself and Lou have been just sort of talking about what Giving Day is going to mean to us. And of late, we have probably a load of testimonies. Obviously, we've been sharing bits and pieces with some of you guys, but God has been really, really good to us, even though things have been tough. I went on reduced hours. Some of you probably don't know that, but I went on reduced hours with the church, and we ended up going on the working family payment, and it's been tough. But yet, despite it being tough, God has somehow has just been very good to us, and we've been doing kind of quite well financially. Probably the best we've ever been doing, probably. Fair point. So probably the best we've ever been doing, and because of that, we kind of felt like we really wanted to get stuck into this year's Giving Day. So one of the reasons why we want to contribute as so much in this year's Giving Day is we just feel like God's on the move and God is doing something really amazing. And because He's really on the move, we want to get behind that. When God moves, it's always wise to move with Him. And when God starts to, you see things being sown, but then you start seeing a lot of reaping going on because it's God who does the reaping. It's wise to kind of get in and get around that and enjoy the harvest that God's bringing in. So He's been good to us. We've had a good harvest financially as a couple, and we want to sort of invest into what God is doing in terms of the church. So what does that look like? Well, obviously there's a number of different things that we're very excited about that we really would like to see. Obviously Hope Cafe is continuing to take off. We've had an incredible number of people looking to use the building, even with all the COVID regulations. And so we'd really like to see it sort of being finished off. Obviously our own sanctuary needs a lot of work, let's be honest. We could really do with new carpet. The seating needs to be needs a good overhaul, and I'd love to see, the ceiling and the stage revamped, maybe a nice sort of backdrop on our wall as well, in terms of our online stuff. Speaking of online, we'd love to see, Enrique's been doing an amazing job with what he has, but we'd like to see a little bit more investment into that, because obviously church online is the future and media is so important in this day and age. So we'd like to see ourselves as a church investing into some equipment, and not trying to brag, but that's been something that myself and Louise have been doing anyway out of our own back pocket, is investing into equipment, but also investing into one or two people to help with the media, and throwing a few quid their way to help them do that. There's lots of other stuff that we'd like to invest into. I'd love to see the toilets upgraded. Obviously with the COVID crisis, our cleaning team is going to increase. God's been very good. We're hoping to have 2 new people, possibly even 3, starting with us through the TOOS scheme, which is a government scheme, and they'll be working with us 19.5 hours a week, and we would love to see them kitted out with all the gear that they need to clean this place and have it absolutely perfect and spotless and sparkling for whatever group, including ourselves, that come in to use it. So there's a lot of different things. The front of the building has been kind of one of the things that Louise has been talking about, so I'll leave you. She's my microphone. See, that's why we need more money. We need more microphones. But anyway, so yeah, that's something. That's something else that we'd love to see is the front of the building, working on sort of tidying up that front footpath, but also maybe getting a nice big sign out the front for Hope Cafe, a nice big sign for the church itself. Obviously I'm the only staff member in church, and we'd love to see that begin to change, and we're praying at the moment about maybe a young couple or a youth pastor getting involved as well. Wouldn't that be amazing for our church, and not just for our church but for our community as well, to have some full-time youth leaders who could go around and really work with young people right across the town in so many different perspectives and different schemes and different things. So there's loads to do. Even this morning, Lou was kind of giving out to me, because I bring a lot of my documentation stuff home from church, and I kind of load it up into one of the shelves, and it's kind of a big load of paper and it bothers her sometimes. And again, it would be great for us to have enough money to go and get our office upstairs fixed up, because right now our current office is completely snowed under with equipment from our tea and tots. You know, we've got all the mats and toys that we use for our tea and tots and for our own creche. It's completely filled with that, so it would be great for us to actually develop the office space that we have upstairs and get that right. Place where Louise can go and edit all of her videos rather than editing them in our bedroom. So it would just be an amazing opportunity for us as a church to push on to the next level in so many different ways. So can I encourage you, God's on the move, God's doing his thing, now it's our turn to respond. And you know, one of the ways that we respond is in terms of our worship is not just with our mouth, but with our heart, also with our time, but also with our treasure. And this is where, as a church, you know, in terms of worship, as a church, I can really see us growing, and I see us more fiery and more passionate for God. And you know, we're praying more as a church, we're worshiping with a greater sincerity and passion. That's all amazing to see. It's great to see people, you know, being willing to give so much more of their time. All this is amazing, guys, but there's also an aspect that we need to follow that now with our treasure as well. We talked so much about acting on Acts recently. We've been doing, that's been a sort of our main gospel, or our main book that we've been going through this year. And one of the things it says in the book of Acts is that it talks about how they met together daily in the temple courts, and met together daily and they went from house to house. But it also talks about how they were willing to financially get behind the church as well. And it talks about how they gave to anyone as they had need. And that came from people being willing to sacrifice, not just their worship, but also sacrifice their wallet. So can I encourage you guys, the Giving Day is coming up on Sunday, the 20th of September. Let's save, let's sacrificially give, and let's have a season of being able to resource and invest into what God is doing at the moment.